What's up, everybody? I'm Malcolm the Marvelous M. Now, I know what you're thinking. No, not this channel. Don't say you have to cancel this channel. Just don't because of the algorithm. Well, if it's any consolation, we aren't completely ceasing the channel. And no, we're not canceling the show. And no, we're not going to stop making videos. This video is more of an explanation as to why our current season 9, has been stretched out through the past 2 years, mostly with monthly videos, and why we haven't uploaded anything in the last month. It's basically because every single member of the Barlow Seb show has just been very busy and have had very time-consuming things going on in their lives, and major current members of the Marlow 7 group are going through this, which they're all preventing us from making this show and some of our videos. Now, first, I need to go over some things before I actually go over what's keeping us from making the shows every week like we used to. I want to apologize for this elaborate and long explanation, which may seem off topic, but it is relevant, so bear with me or skip to this number as to when you can hear the explanation. Because I want to tell you a bit of backstory as to when we started making the show. Alright. Back in 2009, Rhino and I just started high school at Central Valley High School. And that was the point when I decided I wanted to be a filmmaker. I showed him a bunch of stupid videos I made of my dad's house on DVDs, and he was pretty impressed by them. We also were best friends with our current friend Timmy, and I would also hang out with my little brother Taz at home. These three were the closest people I knew, and I would refer to these people as the ones I was closest to. Anyway, when I decided to have filmmaking as my career, whether it be directing, writing, acting, or producing movies, I thought I should watch any films considered to be the best. And when Hastings Entertainment was still alive and well, I thought that the best one I should look at first was 2001: A Space Odyssey. I decided to give it a watch, and when I first saw it, I didn't understand it at all. I was so lost on the movie, so I decided to watch it again, and after a few watches, I felt the movie was talking about the meaning of life or whatever it was. And, yeah, because it was about, like, understanding our universe and survival and all that, which led me to that in all my videos that I made at my dad's house, I was the only one in them. Like, I was the only actor in them, and whenever I needed another character, it was either me in a different outfit or a clip from another movie that I was making fun of in the video. I then thought I figured out the meaning of life, which was to have interaction with other people, which is what I do with Rhino, Timmy, and Taz. So I thought the group of people that I was in was pretty badass, or the word that I thought that of when I was doing my dumb posh accent, marvelous. And I was a bit of weirdo back then, so I made a dumb connection that marvelous and meaning started with M. So I came up with the name of our group. And yes, the trivia fact on our YouTube page, our IMDb page that some fan made was correct. It means for meaning. In 2010, I was at my mom's house and I came across a tape recorder and decided to use it to make a fake radio show with my friends to make them laugh. And I wondered about hypothetically making a radio show in the future. However, I decided that we should at least make a hypothetical TV show, and we got our chance to make a pseudo internet show on my Facebook page. Yeah, I didn't know much about running a YouTube channel, thought it would be too complicated to make. Anyway, with this cheap 240p Kmart Vivitar camcorder, which I still have somewhere, we made a bunch of dumb videos for me to upload on Facebook. I was a big fan of the Three Stooges and Viva La Bam and thought about us making a combination of that. Our show has kind of become modern age Three Stooges, but with a lot of profanity. Taz and I were really good friends with our neighbors at the time, Bad Brian, Javier, and Oscar. And Tom was really good friends with them first. I thought it wasn't fair that his friends couldn't be in the videos, so he introduced me to them, and we included them. And unfortunately, some of their videos had to be taken down due to the copyright overhaul scare in 2013 that took down Watch Mojo, Channel Awesome, and almost took down Tobuscus. Anyway, we started to get some of my family members and other friends to watch the videos. Some not happy with the language of violence, but most of them were laughing hysterically. Then, to see if we should go full out and make a channel, I enlisted my cousin Chris, who became Chris the Redneck, and my uncle Garrity to be in the video. That we decided to make our season finale, which made everyone love it. Not only that, but most of the people who saw it actually showed it to their friends too, and after this, I decided to risk the stress and make the channel, which is the one you're watching right now. We then started making our show with a few episodes for every other season, and they would still be in the same format that we did in our first season, but with a much better camera, which was the Fujifilm XP camera, which in hindsight had really poor audio quality. However, the current XP camera that we have has somewhat good audio quality, but the autofocus is constantly like changing and it's constantly annoying all the time. You've probably seen that in many of our videos. Anywho, when we got the channel, we gained the attention of my video production teacher, Mr. Wordsworth, and after that, he decided he wanted to recruit me to work on a show he was running this week in high school sports on Spokane's Fox 28. Now, for those who don't live in Spokane or have never heard of this, it was a legitimate television series that was shot and edited entirely by high schoolers, including myself. During this, I became very well accustomed to iMovie, Final Cut Pro, and even Cinema 4D, which unfortunately I couldn't afford for a while because it's so freaking expensive. In my free time when I was editing, when the editing of those videos were finished, I would then use the software at the school to work on the show, and while I was doing that in class, I acquired more filmmaking students, I acquired more filmmaking skills from Mr. Wordsworth, which I then utilized in the show. I even recruited some of my classmates, Jocelyn, Spud, Cuckoo, Buddy, Maddie, Spike, D, a number of other students I might be forgetting, and I'll just include the video's description later. When we would get together and I would run out of ideas, Rhino would be the one to come up with some ideas for some episodes. And when I met Brandon Farley, Chris Tripp, and Bethany Loy through Timmy, I found out they all had their own channels as well. And I wanted to recruit them in the group, but I felt that it would be more appropriate to have them as guest stars. That way, our fans could see their content. And speaking of guest stars, one of my school projects was actually an episode of season 2. The Future is Crazy. Now, for some of you hardcore fans of our show, yes, that episode was originally called The Future is Wild, but we received a comment saying that it was actually the name of a BBC documentary that we didn't know about, so we changed the channel. By the way, check out that documentary. It's actually pretty cool. Now, the project was about special effects, which I usually learned from Indie Mogul's BFX from the early years of when I was making videos of my dad's. Shockingly enough, Eric Beck and Justin Johnson, who were running Indie Machines after their departure from Indie Mogul, saw and liked the video. And I was so thrilled. I'm still thrilled and completely bewildered to even be acknowledged by these people. They're some of the biggest people, some of the very first people on YouTube, and they enjoyed one of our videos, one of our dumb videos that we made on the fly. I still can't wrap my mind around the fact that that very concept of was happening. I'm incredibly thankful for this. Thank you guys for your love and support and everything. Eventually, within our third season, our neighbors, Bad Brian, Javier, and Oscar, were moving away. I heard Oscar moved back in Spokane, but I haven't talked to him in weeks, so I'm thinking about recruiting him back in the show. We did get him for one episode, but other than that, we Yeah, miss them. Anyway, um, I'll get to that later when I need to address it. I would miss them at that time, but my other friends were determined to keep the show alive. That is until we all graduated high school, of course, which actually led to the Marvelous M movie, What is the Meaning of Life? Again, this came about from the foundations of our group, and why I called it that, the meaning of life, because we made the entire show because we had this weird feeling that we would all be separated after graduation, and if this happens, our show had to go out on a bang. It had to end with some awesome thing, like something had to like sum it all up. And the majority members of our group wrote the movie, and it was really short. Like it would have been like a 20-minute, half-hour movie at least. And I was trying to figure out a way how to make the movie longer, and then I watched the Three Stooges shorts after thinking, and I noticed that some of the episodes actually used recycled footage, and those episodes would be shot with quickly shot new footage that would link it all together. And I thought, what if we did our film like that? Not only would it serve as a film, but also a best of compilation. We made the movie, and it got over 1,000 views, which I know is not a big deal for many, but was a huge deal for us. None of our videos had ever reached 1,000 views, so we were pretty blown away. We all graduated, and the very last teacher I talked to at Central Valley High School was, of course, Mr. Wordsworth. I simply thanked him for giving me the tools and skills required to keep the show and our talent running. I will never be able to repay him for that, and I will always thank him whenever I get that chance. And the same thing goes to my SCC teacher, Mr. Sharp, who did the very same thing when I went off to college at Spokane Community College. Now, if all the members of the group that aren't in the show anymore are watching this, please keep in mind I do not fault any of you for not participating anymore. Again, I'll explain that later. At this point, Rhino, Taz, and our newest neighbors, being Quick and Lumpy, were making the show at this point. And also at this point, Chris had to go to Job Corps, and I was in Spokane Community College. Also, I was going through some very troubling and depressing times that I really don't want to get into in this video. I will say, like, one of the most depressing things that was happening was one of my good friends, Jansen Battinger, passed away, and I was, like, going through anxiety attacks about school and other things. And those things got some of my friends and family members really concerned, and luckily, Rhino, he felt the show was very therapeutic for me, and, like, whenever I felt bad, he constantly talked to me and, like, said, hey, I got this idea for a show. Like, I have some ideas for episodes that we could make, and like, they weren't even real ideas. They were just stupid things that we would film off the fly and not even make into videos, just so that he could get my mind off those things. He, he and Timmy, they were such good friends. They were there for me, and yeah, they were just probably trying to make me laugh and all that. And throughout this time, these guys were like trying so hard to make my life better. And then we hit the jackpot, guys. In 2013, I made a Vine account because it was one of the newest platforms of our stupid videos. I had this dumb thought that it was a fun challenge on the internet, which was to squeeze as much comedy as you can in 6 seconds. And I also did this because of the dumb notion that if I jump aboard this site at the time, I might be recognized as one of the first people on there and our show would go viral. That didn't work out as planned. I still made Vines because the fans loved them. Not only that, but Chris eventually came back from Job Corps and could then do some episodes with us. But the one thing that really encouraged us to keep the show going was one video. The one video that became incredibly easy for us to make at that time. You see, when Rhino and Timmy and Brandon and I would hang out, we would all talk about our childhoods and what we missed from them. And then I made a personal list of things I missed. It wasn't personal like private, it was just something I made off the fly just for my own amusement. And I decided to make a video talking about it. I originally wrote it to just have Brandon guest star and myself talking about it, but then I decided to have it rewritten to have it flow with our show's format. Rhino and I directed it and included some new ideas from some of our viewer requests at the time. I uploaded it, and it got so fucking viral, guys. I'm not kidding. Like, it was so viral. Like, it went over 2,000 views, and I almost spontaneously combusted. Only 2,000. It's over 10,000 right now. Only 2,000, and I almost, like jumped in excitement and everything. I got in touch with Tyler Plumley, who commented the Kids WB stuff, and we became good friends over Facebook. Same thing goes for Cody Blythe, Orlando Stewart, Billy Crank, Richard Miller, all these people. And the very next year, we made another dumb video called Let's Play Jumanji, which is still blowing up on the internet. And at least for us, of course, but we want to thank you for this as well. Okay, now that I've told you a detailed history of the Marvel Stem Show, let's get to the main point of why I made this video. The reason why I made you all pay attention and hear me out in this video that sounds concerning that it might end. Again, this is not going to end. This channel is not ending. This is just an explanation as to why we've been gone so long and why we may be gone for a little longer. Again, we have been incredibly busy with our basic life problems and obstacles in our lives. Rhino now has a day job and isn't able to come over as often as I needed him to. Chris has just become a dad, and the kid's name is Thomas Mann. He's absolutely adorable, but he's such a handful. Taz, Quick, and Lumpy, they're in high school. Central Valley, the same high school I mentioned earlier. Taz even got to work for Mr. Wordsworth a couple times for computer animation class. Our Uncle Garrity, whom you probably noticed us messing with earlier, he has been facing some major family tragedies as of late, and they've been pretty rough on him, and I just didn't feel, Taz and I didn't feel morally sound to mess with him like we used to for a laugh. And while I've graduated from SCC, as of September 20th, I have been attending Eastern Washington University for my degree in film. This means I have to attend their classes, which take place literally 26 miles away from Spokane Valley, all the way to Cheney, both in Washington, but very far away. And this takes up the majority of my day, and none of us can really set aside the usual time it would take for us to make videos. But do not worry. I have been working on an episode for a while. It is another 90s Kids episode, which Rhino, who directed it, has been asking me over and over, hey, when is this coming out? You and Chris and I have been working on this since July, and I keep telling them, I don't know. I don't know. I don't have the amount of time I usually have. And he understands. He truly does understand. These are just, like, he's not drilling this into me. He's just flat out saying, hey, is this done? Yeah, this video, along with the entirety of Season 9, has been delayed due to me trying to apply to Eastern. Again, this plan for stopping the show is temporarily, and it is not definite. And we just need a break. We understand we've been on break for a while, but again, our lives of late have been so busy, so tiring, so time-consuming, so supremely hectic. So much so that I am limited to not being able to make our silly 6 seconds, which we used to call vines, on a weekly basis. We, again, want to thank you guys for all of your patience, and I personally want to thank each and every single one of you people for encouraging us to keep making this show that sprouted out of sheer boredom. If you still have a request for an episode, don't hesitate. Please comment it below. If you want to tell us how you came across our show, feel free to comment it below on our Facebook page. Feel free to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and once again, thank you very much for being fans and encouraging us to keep our show going.